Also been looking at this very closely. Genesis host, who every Saturday has you do an update. Webster, what's your preliminary view on what's happening here?
Well, first of all, this shows that agitation can lead to results, and people who think that the federal government is beyond their reach should now think again. Obama did not want to reveal this, and now he's been forced to reveal whatever he has revealed. I think the first step is, as Phil has been suggesting, we need to see a detailed analysis of this, forgeries. Is it fabricated? Is it real? What's with the name of the doctor? What if these people are still alive? Can they provide some enlightenment? As Phil also points out, the really big question is the naturalization of Barack Hussein Obama, if that really is his name, in Indonesia as Barry Sotoro, the son of Lolo Sotero, who was the guy that his mother married, and therefore he is, by all accounts, became at that point a naturalized citizen of Indonesia. I would also extend a broader standard. If you want to be president, it means that you want to get your hand on the thermonuclear button. That gives you life or death power over virtually everybody in the United States and many people in the world. At that point, there is no private sphere. We want to see everything. We want to see his records from the prep school, Punahou, in Hawaii. We want to see the Occidental College records. We want to see the Columbia University records. We have this guy, Wayne Root, who says that he was in that year at Columbia. He's asked all the alumni. Nobody ever heard of Obama in that graduating class. We want to see the Harvard story. We want to see his tax returns. We want to see his records at this Business International Corporation, which is a notorious CIA front as long as it existed. We want to see his State Department file regarding the visas and trips that he took. For example, did he go to Pakistan early on with a couple of schoolmates? And
by the way, Webster, you're going to be in studio for an hour and a half Friday with us here in town, breaking this down as we work on a documentary film together. But my big issue here is, folks, they've been covering up his whole record like never before with anybody else in American politics. They wouldn't release this. They said that the receipt of a certificate was the certificate, played dumb about it. Now they've released a supposed long form. Does anybody in their right mind think that if he was really born in Kenya, that they wouldn't produce a fake birth certificate now because 62% of the American people don't believe he was born here in the USA Today poll that came out yesterday? Does anyone think, when the government's been caught forging documents, making fake newscasts, that they are not capable of this? Webster Tarpley, then we'll get Phil Berg's take on that.
They've been lying the whole time, and the interesting thing is, now you see what a real birth certificate might look like if this is authentic. That's a big if. You see that it's typewritten, it has signatures on there in pen and ink. It's got a whole series, about 20 to 25 categories of information.
Where are the feet? Where are the feet?
That's what we were demanding the whole time. Yes, there's that too. Some states have it, I guess some states don't. The authenticity of that document now has to be established by experts in...
By the way, notice it's not a scan, so experts could do that properly. It's a photo. You can see it curving. It's a photo. That's even more suspicious.
All right. All of those things have to come out in the wash. But again, the further dimension, what's with Indonesia? And again, the standard has to be, you want your finger on the thermonuclear button, great. We get to know everything. And this applies to everybody. It applies to Obama, anybody running for president, anybody and everybody running for president.
Well, we know to join the FBI, you've got to give them the long-form birth certificate. Let's get final comments from Phil Berg, Webster Tarpley, then your phone calls coming up. We're going to be taking your phone calls coming up in the next hour. Toll-free number to join us, 800-259-9231. I'd like to get your take on the birth certificate question. That's the topic. Please only call in on that subject because I really want to focus in on that. 1-800-259-9231 is the toll-free number to join us today. We're talking to attorney Phil Berg and Webster Griffin Tarpley, really two of the first people that I heard ever question the birth certificate after the Clinton people did. And they've certainly been covering it up. $2 million spent blocking Phil Berg. All I know is the media needs to answer for this. All of them that said that he released his long form when it was this receipt computer printout itself that folks, experts said was as fake as a $3 bill. And now this. Or is there a bigger psyop that they put out more fake stuff to keep the controversy going? Not that it's not a controversy and not important, but compared to dollar plunging and everything else, it's kind of like going after Clinton for sex instead of missile secrets. Final comment on that, Webster Tarpley. Then I want to get Phil Berg's take.
I think the overriding issue is the blackmail issue, and the blackmail issue subsumes the things that you're mentioning. You have to imagine if Obama is really not constitutionally qualified, if he was naturalized into Indonesia, or if this birth certificate is a fake, he is blackmailable. Why did he reverse his field on bombing Libya? He told Senator Lugar 48 hours before the bombing, there will be no military action against Libya. Then he turns around and does it. Does British intelligence, for example, have proof that he was born in Kenya? All of these questions. That's why we have to know everything. Because if the president is blackmailable, he can't be president, and that impacts every issue under the sun. And I think this is a way for people, leftists and others, centrists, independents, to understand if the president can be blackmailed, that is a constitutional crisis. And we're still in a major constitutional crisis over this question of Obama's qualifications.
But going back, the reason you mentioned Kenya and British intel, that was a British holding, a colonial state still at the time that he was born. Any questions or comments for Phil Berg, Webster?
Well, just congratulations. I mean, Phil, after all, was the first person to take this to the U.S. Supreme Court. We were there. I was happy to be an eyewitness, a supporter on August 21st, 2008, when Phil went to the Supreme Court here in Washington. It was before the Democratic National Convention, raising these issues, and they always did it. He was always rejected on standing, and I would urge anybody in Congress who has a committee could issue a subpoena simply demanding to see more. The State Department file and some of these other things.
Yeah, because if they faked this, then they would try to, they were smart, fake it in the files themselves. We need to have those files seized by Congress to really root out what's happening. Phil Berg has raced all over the country for 2.5 years trying to get to the bottom of this. And I think, Phil, you said it best. Why would they spend $2 million, closing comments, why would they spend money blocking you instead of just releasing this thing?